my channel. I'm Josie. Today I am going to show you how to finish off the quilt. And I went ahead and pinned it, but this is the back part of the quilt. And you can see all the quilting on there. Now I'm going to show you an easier method. This is kind of like an envelope. So you sew all the sides and then you leave an opening and then you flip it. There's another procedure that I do that you use binding, but it is a little more difficult, and so I thought I'd make this as easy as possible. Now, I went ahead and pinned it. You pin both right sides together. Also, I left an opening that is 11.5 inches, and that is where you turn it inside, and I'll show you the procedure. It's simple. I'm showing you the basics. I want my channel to be relaxing, and I want you just to learn the basics. There's some experienced sewers that this will probably bore them to death, but as I go along, and if people request, more detailed, then I will do it. But I just want you to have fun at it. And I want to show you what you can do with dumpster fabric, say clothes that you can't wear anymore, things that are wasted. There's a lot of people that don't have money to go out and buy quality fabric. And they'll go to Goodwill, Savers, and different places and buy clothes. And, that is fine. Nothing wrong with it. Our ancestors, do you know how they made quilts? Out of old clothes. So anyway, after the quilting, and in my thumbnail you'll see actually the quilt, and if you look at my last video you will see it also. So I'm going to start sewing. This might be a boring part for you because I decided not to fast forward or not to actually even edit. I'm just going to sew. So actually, and my seam, I'm going to lower my camera now. My seam, I'm going to do 5/8 of an inch. Let's see if I can. Okay. You can actually do 1/2 or 5/8. You can also do 1/4, but I actually wouldn't recommend that, because you're getting pretty close to the edge. Okay, put your needle down. I always remove the pins. Some sewing machines, you can sew over pins. Some of them, it will break your needle. Remember, always try to have a very sharp needle. Okay, this is 5/8. So when you start, always back stitch. Always have your needle down when you turn. As you can see, there's a nice even stitch. Always make sure your fabric is straightened. Excuse me, some of my pins decided to come out. sometimes, you know, your fabric will stretch, so that's really important to pin it. Somehow. My fabric stretched just a little bit. So I am going to put in a tiny little pleat. And when I switch it over to the right side, you really won't notice the difference. And when it's pressed really good. That's why it's really important to kind of have the same weight. This backing fabric is a little light for this quilt. Just have about one more side to go. And we'll have as you go, always make sure your fabric is even and one side hasn't stretched out. And like I said, I'm having a little stretching problem with this one because of the weight of the backing is a little light. I actually should have chosen a heavier fabric. Going to see in a few minutes here what we have. now we're going to flip it over. Always trim off the corners. It's easier, you get a better finished corner. And just be careful you don't cut too far. Okay. Now, going to open it up like that. Stick your hand in it. This is why it's called an envelope. And there's a corner. It's the other corner. And then I have this little tool, which you can buy at the craft store. I use it to make cards. Okay, where's my opening here? I use it to make cards to make the seam, you know, flat. You can just poke that out like that. And you can also use your scissors, just have to be really careful you don't poke it through. Okay, now here's the back, and if you can see this, now what I do, which I'm not going to do right now, is take it to the ironing board and press it really good. And see, here's your opening. Then you can pin that. Like that. See? And then what I do after it's pressed, make a top stitch at the very end, all the way around. And after it's steamed, you will be amazed how nice it looks. And even there was a few spots where my fabric was stretched. Once that's flipped over, you can't see it. See? You cannot see those spots. See how easy and simple that is? And you've got a quilt. Now this quilt is a small quilt. It's 50 by 27 inches. And I just want you to see the simple way of doing it. Now there are some quilts that I actually put the back on and do the quilting on both sides. Like, okay, these stitches would show on both sides. But, you know, you can, it's your choice. There's a lot of different ways of doing it. But now this is a really good weight. And it really isn't difficult. I think anyone with a little practice. And I find that if you don't stress over perfection, perfection happens. It just will fall into place. It's like on this one, I came to a couple of spots where I thought, oh, my fabric is stretching. I've messed up. But you cannot even see that now. And when this is, I press it and I use the steam iron and I press it really good. And once I do that top stitching on the end, it's gonna look fabulous. So, like I've said before, there's some wonderful channels, some really skilled seamstresses. But sometimes when you watch those, it's kind of discouraging because you think, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that perfect like they are doing it, where they've had years of sewing skills. They've got beautiful sewing rooms. They've got the most expensive machine, and most of us can't afford that. Or if you're a beginner, a seamstress, or just starting to learn how to sew, you're not going to have perfection, but you're going to have fun and you're going to enjoy it. And before you know it, your items are going to be perfect. So that's the purpose of my relaxed channel. And also I want to show you what you can do with dumpster fabric, old clothes, even new clothes that maybe no longer fit you. So anyway, I hope you got something out of this. I am going to press this really good, do that top stitch, and it is totally done. I'm really happy with it. It's not perfect. I didn't plan for it to be, but it's a very usable quilt. You can put this on the back of your sofa for decoration or for a lap quilt. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. Either leave me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I'm sure I can't please everyone. But anyway, I enjoy your comments as long as they're not rude or nasty. I enjoy suggestions. So have fun with this, and I will be doing more DIYs. My jewelry art DIYs will probably be more technical. I'm a little more picky with those. Sewing to me is great to release stress, and yes, I like perfection to a certain extent, but I want everybody to relax, to enjoy what they're doing. Because and I've had people say, well, I can't sew. I've never sewed. Anyone can learn to sew. The main thing is learn to sew straight, learn how to cut straight, and anyone can do it. So have fun. See you later. Bye, everyone.